Guys, you are welcome back to my channel. I'm actually fleshing out the day 3 of my trading challenge. So it's more like we are still on our time and price structure. So this is how I will flesh out my Euro USD trade for today, Thursday. Okay, this yellow shaded spot is our 1 day fair value gap, and what is actually happening on the 1 day is interesting. I love to see that kind of price action. We see price leaving this high open, so this high is open. Remember, it is a relative equal high. That is what this my REQH represents. I want to believe that price is still going to gravitate to that point on the daily, and being that there has been a sweep of liquidity here, I can see a fair value gap right here that was actually invalidated here. So let me take this one off and mark out this fair value gap that's become an inversion. So I actually like that level. That's my inversion fair value gap, or balanced price range, BPR. Some traders like to call it the balanced price range, but the whole concept behind this balanced price range is that there was a fair value gap that left an imbalance, so price actually closed above it here to turn this fair value gap to an inversion fair value gap and a balanced price range. So this balanced price range is what I am looking for if I intend to take a bullish position to this end here. I want to see price get all the way down to the midpoint of this inversion fair value gap to target a long term or mid term, sorry, should actually be a mid term sweep of this high. So assuming there was a sweep of liquidity here, I would have considered this fair value gap as a stronger fair value gap. Where is that my part 2? So if the structure that we saw here, if this high had taken out this one before breaking down this structure, here would have been a very strong level for me to look for a short position. Did I say that's correct? Assuming this high took out this high before breaking this low here, I would have seen this fair value gap as a very strong fair value gap to send price down. But then we did not see that structure, and looks like so actually this high did not take out this high to make this kind of a what's this shape, higher V kind of shape, just like a lower low, a higher low, and a higher high that took a previous high. But then instead of continuing to the upside, it broke down past the leg that took this high. So this is what we would have been looking for in a perfectly bearish structure. But now this high unfortunately is still somewhere in between. like this. So no, this one is actually somewhere here. Yes, so this high, this low, this high, this high, this low, this low, this high. So we are still here. We are expecting price to still attack this high that is here, because we are obviously in an uptrend, as you can see it here. If you take your trend 2 line and mark out this level, you will see that the trend 2 line is agreeing with us that Euro USDT is in an uptrend. So what happened last week was kind of smart money dumping on their positions. Was that on Wednesday? So now we are patiently waiting for price to dig into the midpoint of this fair value gap. So let us go to the 1 hour chart and see what's going on. So this is our balanced price range and our support level. See this fair value gap, see this fair value gap. So the highest probability, the highest probable order block is the one that has a fair value gap directly after the break of structure, and it would be this one right here. Let me even invert it so that I see it from the other side. I'll now press alternate I, and I'm seeing it from an upside down point of view. So if I was in a bearish position, I would have taken this high as a valid high to look for a short position, right? So the reverse is the case in an uptrend. So now there is still another fair value gap from this low to this one. Okay, so this 1 hour fair value gap, I will give it a purple color. If that is enough, let us just leave it at purple for now and go back to our normal trend. So this level, this balanced price range, is actually a very nice level for us to look for a long position to target this high here on Euro USD. So that is what I am looking for. That is actually what I am waiting for price to do. Okay, I don't want to start looking at how to build positions to take price down to this level. I want to be on the major side of the trend, which is an uptrend, which means my trade have a higher probability of playing out in this level than it is for playing out in this level. So I'll obey the smart money. Rule. All these places, they are all relative equal lows that price will still dig into. Price is still coming to take out this low. This low is the opposite of what we have in this high. It is a hanging high. this one is a hanging low, because just like I demonstrated in the downtrend, the uptrend would look something like this. Take out this low, break this high before. So this low is a hanging low here, and we are expecting price to dig into it with this leg. So once price digs into this level, we are going to frame our long positions from this level in the chart. So the low that will break this point, you will now check its previous high and wait for price to break above it before you enter for a long position. And it is going to be either a day trade or a swing trade, depending on how long you are comfortable with holding your trade. So in order to round things up with our time and price structure that we laid out in the beginning of this series, remember that the initial, let me zoom this in a little bit. Remember that from 7 o'clock, which is this horizontal line here, we mark the high, like the highest high prior to the market open at 9:30. I use 9:30. Some people might use 8:30 because that is when the news release happens, but the reason I like to wait till 9:30 is the final flush that taps into the stop losses of the impatient traders. That is when we see that final confirmation: 9:30, 10:30, 11:30. So remember, when price first of all breaks the low, then we are confident that yes, according to the open, low, high, close structure of price delivery, yes, it's a kind of price delivery structure. On a bullish day, from the open, you are supposed to get a low first before price putting in a high, and that low is like the sweep of liquidity. Yeah, so that is actually the sweep of liquidity that we are seeing here. I'm seeing the sweep of liquidity happening right here. So we are seeing price dig into the stop losses of the impatient long traders. So that is actually what we are seeing here. And this short is likely digging into this level. We don't know when it will happen, but we have the morning session and the afternoon session to wait out for price to line up here. Okay, so this next vertical line is 9:30 on the clock, this is 10:30 on the clock, and this is 11:45 on the clock. Today was unemployment claims release Thursday, so that is basically what we should be looking out for. We should be looking out for price digging into this level. Please subscribe to my channel if this is your first time, and I will see you in the next video.